Today on Generation Next, we're running through our book of grievances to see what Sony and Xbox need to fix for next gen. So help us. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Generation Next, GameSpot's weekly video destination for all things PS5 and Xbox Series X. As always, I am joined by Xbox Xpert Jordan Ramée.
Yo.
And PlayStation Pro Tamoor Hussain.
Absolutely undulating with anticipation for new consoles.
You had to look that one up, didn't you? There's no way.
No, I am constantly undulating.
I think he's got some kind of Google Doc or a link to a thesaurus.
Yeah, it's words related to sex that can be used in non-offensive ways.
We are not even 30 seconds into the show. Alright, so this week came the news that PS5 might, covering myself just in case Ubisoft was wrong, might not be backwards compatible with older PlayStation consoles, PS1, PS2, PS3. So this got us thinking and got us to put together a list of things that we want to be fixed for PS5 and Xbox Series X in the interest of fairness. Obviously, we haven't got the list that's just full of stuff like storage, online updates taking way too long. PlayStation, why is it faster if I put it in rest mode to download my updates? The fan noises. Please, Evan, insert the clip of what my PlayStation is like playing Warzone. And yeah, stuff like patch sizes. They're all the obvious ones, so we put our heads together to think of things that we need to see, we would love to see for PS5 and Xbox Series X. So Tam, I'm going to come to you first. What do we have to have improved for PS5?
So the first things first, I think backwards compatibility is huge. We're going to briefly touch on the kind of news beat that happened in relation to that with Ubisoft that you mentioned earlier. So they put up a kind of support page, and it mentions the phrases like, it says that their games will be cross-generational in terms of PS4 players will be able to play online with PS5 players, but then there's some text that basically says backwards compatibility will be available for support with PlayStation 4 titles, but will not be possible for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, or PlayStation games. Obviously, that means for a lot of people, they read that as, oh, backwards compatibility beyond PS4 is out of the question. It's important to kind of say the caveat that Ubisoft might be speaking out of turn here. They could have made a mistake. They could have said something a bit too early. They could have just put some template text in. So there's some caveat there. But in light of Sony not being clear, concise, and open about their backwards compatibility strategy, there's obviously going to be some assumptions being made. That's partly on Sony's kind of fault for that. So I think we should take the opportunity to say that backwards compatibility should be an important part of Sony's strategy going forward. They, like I said, have said nothing, and if anything, they need to match what Microsoft is doing, because Microsoft is talking big about backwards compatibility. They're making it available through either, Game Pass or other means, and Sony needs to follow suit with that. There's far too many games that are kind of locked to PlayStation 3, tricky because of the architecture, but PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 that they need to make available either digitally or through using existing discs. I think that's crucial to people going forward, and it's important as a consumer proposition.
Exactly. I mean, for a long time, after I finished Persona 4, that's what my Vita became. I would just play all these PlayStation 1 classics on my Vita, and I would really love to be able to do that. If I'm forking out for a PS5, I don't want to be locked out of the games that I've bought previously. Well, I'm not truly locked out because I still have the console, but a lot of people are going to be selling those consoles in order to afford a PS5. So fingers crossed we get some clarity on that one. Jordan, coming to you for Xbox.
So it's beating a dead horse at this point. I've already ranted about it and was downvoted all to hell, but I'm a masochist. I'm going to bring up this point again. But
you were right to do it. You were right to do it.
I'm so... It's like one of those weird things that I love numbers going up. It's why I like playing games like Destiny and stuff like that. I'm like, oh yes, the numbers are going up. I'm getting
the
better
numbers,
and better.
Mason.
The numbers.
We want the numbers, Mason. That's all we've ever wanted.
So when So the fact that Xbox has gamer score and you can watch that like number go up, and I'm like, oh my god, it's wonderful, it's wonderful. But then every once in a while, some dev decides to be really cheeky with their achievements, and they're like, oh, what if we decided to make this like 33 point achievement or 67 or whatever, and it'll eventually add up to 1,000 like every game does. But we're essentially forcing the player to complete the entire game if they want to even out the number again, and every single time I see that, it pisses me off so much. I hate it.
Look, I'm right there with you. Looking at achievements, every time I see one that's an odd number, I'm like, oh, you're doing this again, really? Just have it 5 or 0 at the end, please. Just let my poor brain be eased with the numbers. But also, I mean, I'm going to add a caveat to this. This isn't a real point, but like, PlayStation trophies really can take a page out of Xbox's book when it comes to trophy tracking. Achievement tracking on Xbox is amazing, and I love it. And, you know, if I'm working towards something, I'll pin it in the bottom corner. I would love... The other day, I got the Control Platinum. Not a humble brag, I used the invulnerability thing because, God help me, I could not beat Mr. Tomasi. Whatever. But my final trophy that I had to get was the 25 the bureau adjustments. And I had no idea how far along that trophy I was. And I was just kind of miserable because I feel like the game stopped spawning enemies for me. And I was like, I just want to know how long I have left, man. I've got one more trophy to get, and then I'm done. I can do the DLC. So, PlayStation, Mr. Sony, sir, if you're listening, please. All right, Tam, back to you.
So the one I'm going to mention now kind of rolls into the backwards compatibility, and it is combining PS Plus with PlayStation Now into one membership. I feel like there's going to be some advancements in PlayStation Now, and it does work in a lot of circumstances, provided you've got a pretty good kind of setup for it. But I don't think a lot of people are using it, and what better way to make games backwards compatible to some degree, even if it's not perfect, by you know, including PlayStation Now in your subscription and telling people all those games that you want to be backwards compatible, you can play via this subscription service, and it's part of your PlayStation Plus online subscription. Currently, there's no way for me to fire up my PlayStation and play Metal Gear Solid from the PlayStation 1. Other than, I think it might be on PlayStation Now, but I can't really tell. I don't pay close attention to that because why would I? It's like awkward right now, and it's a separate subscription. However, if I knew that Metal Gear Solid or any other random game was on PlayStation Now and it was included in my PlayStation Plus subscription, I'm way more inclined to kind of get involved with that. And I'm perhaps speaking out of turn here, but I'm willing to go so far as to say, like, I would take a small bump in price for PlayStation Plus if it included a PlayStation Now subscription. Not a massive bump, but a small one. Just because I know that's an extra feature, like a new tier of PlayStation Plus where it includes PlayStation Now. I feel like that would be a good way to kill two birds with one stone.
You essentially want the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate version of
yes,
PlayStation.
Sony, please give it.
Do we want to redo that section because Metal Gear Solid HD Collection is on PS Now?
Objection!
Metal Gear Solid's not in that.
Oh, is it not in that at all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then carry on.
Take that!
You think I don't know Metal Gear Solid? You think I wouldn't know that?
I don't know.
Who do you think you're talking to?
I don't know Metal Gear Solid Tamoor. All right, Jordan, what else would you like to see from Series X? What improvements need to be made?
So, Xbox Series X needs a system seller. Like, when I was a wee lad back in 2013.
A wee Irish lad.
a wee... I just finished Psych 101 in college, and I thought I was on top of the world and knew practically everything. And trying to decide if I should buy Xbox One or PS4, and Xbox One had that terrible bundle of terribleness at E3. But I was just trying to decide which console to pick up. And at the end of the day, Xbox One had the exclusive deal that I wanted to play, which was Titanfall at the time. It was exclusive to Xbox 360 and Xbox One. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'll get Xbox One. Series X doesn't have that yet, and like I'm going to get it because A, it's my job, and B, I'm just so in the Xbox ecosystem at this point that they've just got me by the balls, and I'm never gonna be able to get away. But
just got an image of Phil Spencer holding Jordan's balls, and you're never gonna get away from me.
Just have a picture of him holding like a basketball with like my name on it or something like that. But there's like nothing coming out for Series X that I'm like super excited to play. Like there are games like Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk that I will be able to play on Series X, but there's nothing that I'm like, I can only play this on Series X, and I'm definitely getting this console because this game can be played on Series X. And I just would want to see something, anything like that, even if it's some weird little experimental thing like Titanfall back on the Xbox One.
So when we were putting this list together, I put down UI for Xbox. And
UI
actually,
is fine, Lucy.
The UI is fine.
Everybody.
UI, everybody.
You all, everybody. You never heard that song?
The UI is fine now. Fun fact, the only time I've ever really had a coordinated campaign against me on the internet is years ago when I said that I didn't like the Xbox One UI. And I like it fine now. I like it fine. Don't come at me. But I'm glad they've changed that, and I'm glad we have that going into Series X. So before people say the UI is bad, no, they updated it recently, and it's, a thing that they fixed. Because a lot of the things when we were thinking of things for Xbox is like, well, they actually already fixed that. Like, they fixed a lot of this.
It's fixed, but the performance is still not great across the board. Like, it's still clunky in a way that it's fixed, but it's not user-friendly is what I'd say.
Mate, if you want to talk about clunky menus, I feel like, and this is a word that I know I cannot say. I don't know how to pronounce it because I've only ever seen it written down.
I'm so excited for this.
Obsolescence?
Obsolescence, yeah.
Wow,
Because I remember once saying obsolescence and got the piss ripped out of me. Anyway, planned obsolescence, the PlayStation 4 menu. Right now, if I'm going in between a party to check my party to game to checking my trophies, it is a mess, and it just chugs along, and part of me is like, okay, yeah, I know that the PS5 is coming, but this is some Apple you're slowing down my device.
And it's weird because it happened, like, for me it felt like it happened overnight. Like one day I was
for me
using
it happened within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, mine was like in the last month where it was fine, and now every time I'm navigating the menu I'm just like having such a weird time. And I did the thing where I cleared memory and did a fresh restart, so it dumps all the data, etc. It just feels like that Apple style obsolescence being activated.
All right, let's move on. So the final thing, I'll take this one because it's kind of a joint thing that we would just love to see fixed for next gen, is like cross-platform play. I was looking through a list of like games that have full cross-platform play right now, and it's stuff like Fortnite, obviously, Minecraft, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Call of Duty Warzone. Everything else is like World of Warships, Brawlhalla, No Man's Sky, Need for Speed Heat, Rocket League. Like one of our producers, Rob, in the chat, big Rocket League fan, is just going, Rocket League, Rocket League, don't forget. So it's like, I love that this trend has started. Sony has always been the one who's kind of been like, about it, but I just want people to play the games where they want to play them, but we can still play together.
I would say crossplay and cross progression are actually kind of important this gen, because like this
hugely.
has been like the huge console generation where we got like Destiny, Apex Legends, Fortnite, like all of these games that a bunch of people are going to want to take their data over and keep playing with all of their friends in the next console generation. And like it's a bit worrisome to see that not all of the games have that yet, and I'm like, I just want to play games with my friends, and I want my data to follow me into the next console generation. Is that so hard? Maybe
Tell
it
me
is.
what's going to happen to my Overwatch progression. That's the real underlying thing. It's like, what's going to happen to my Overwatch? But we have like another list of smaller grievances. DualShock battery life. It's especially compared to the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which is, I feel like I just leave running for about a year.
Yeah.
Account locking on PlayStation 4. This is a very specific thing to me and Tam, because we've moved countries, we can't we can't switch our region on our PS4 account to America. So I have to keep a bank account open in the UK so I can buy games on my account. And the only other way to get around it is to have another account, which is an American account, set my PlayStation to be a primary, and then I can use it on my EU account, which is where all my trophies and all my digitally purchased games are. Just make it easy. Make it like bloody Xbox do it.
And also save data is like regionally locked in a lot of cases. So like
my Sekiro save!
My Sekiro, I played Sekiro to review on a US version of the game because that was the one that was available earliest, and you want to play From Software games as early as possible if you're reviewing them. And then I obviously didn't have any trophies for it because on my main account I don't have, so I own 2 versions of Sekiro, and like it's a nightmare here.
My Sekiro, so I played it for like 3 hours in my bedroom on my EU PS4. I went into the living room and played it on Greg's American PS4. It locked my account, it locked my save, and I lost like 6 to 10 hours of progression on that game.
I hate to see it.
And I had to play it again. But the second time I played it, I was an absolute god at that game. So, maybe it was just PlayStation just teaching me a lesson. Alright, those are our grievances. I just like the idea of having a book of grievances, honestly. I might start one.
I know, I like how you introed this. I'm like, do we just have like a tome that has like everything that we just want fixed written down in it?
It's like this notebook.
It's like the book from Nier. It's alive, the grimoire, and it just like constantly eats your grievances and moans about them. One other one, small power on buttons. So get a grip. A fun fact, one of the times I've had a targeted hate campaign against me is when I moaned about small power buttons on the PlayStation 4.
But I've been playing games with you before and your cat has turned off your PlayStation, so...
Yeah, she's true. That's a fair point.
Alright, so those are our grievances, things that we need to have fixed for next gen. Please let us know your little bugbears in the comments box below. Come find us on Twitter. Tam, where are you?
I am at Tamoor H on the Twitter.
The Twitter.
The Twitter.
My God. That's like when people say, oh, I'm just hanging out with the boyfriend on the Twitter. Jordan, where can people find you?
They can also find me on Twitter at JM Ramée.
And I'm on the Twitter. The Twitters. That's what my dad calls it. I'm on the Twitters at Lucy James Games. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Okay, bye.